Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. So happy you are here. We're going to continue on with our practice with the water and the water bottle. And this is going to be our final chapter in this series. This is going to be the final practice. In part 1, I talked about how we use our sense of observation and awareness when we, in the gardening analogy that I use, when we're watering the plants in the garden, looking at their leaves and the soil. And in part 2, the whole goal was to bring our awareness to ourselves. How are we feeling when we are using our energy and pouring our energy into other vessels? And those vessels could be our work, our family, and then the third one is the vessel that you name. And it's not like this is a burden. That's what I wanted to emphasize here. This is something that we do out of love, out of caring, out of compassion. This giving is not intended to be focused on a negative trait. So I just wanted to make myself clear with that. When we continue to pour our energy into other vessels, how are we recharging our vessels? And the answer to that question, or maybe you could say it's a riddle, is as you watch the video, the answer is right in front of the screen. I'm going to play the video, and you've probably been watching a little bit of it already. But what are you noticing? So this practice is really going to call on you to participate in just, not just listening to my voice, but what are you noticing about the container that is pouring the water out, and it's pouring the water into other vessels? And then what's the difference, the contrast of the other water bottle that you're noticing? And I'll give you a few minutes just to look at the video and you come up with your thoughts. Now, may I reveal something you've already probably pointed out. One vessel is very much opaque. You can't see through it. You see the outer part of it has just labels, and you see the water coming out of it. The other vessel is clear. How can we use that information in a mindfulness perspective?
And so, if we're only paying attention to the external part of ourself, giving energy to the vessels around us. And that's, again, is a positive thing to give and to share. But I invite you to think that in order to give and to share, how important it is to refill our vessel, to refill our energy. And in a mindfulness perspective, taking time and looking at, being aware of what's going on inside. Are we half empty, half full? Whatever your perspective, half empty, half full, how are we recharging ourselves? Flying is a great analogy. When they do the safety announcement, the flight attendants say if there's a loss in cabin pressure, and they tell people who are traveling with children to put the mask, the oxygen mask, on yourself before putting it on the child. The rationale is you can help the child more when you have oxygen. If you pass out, how are we going to help our child? You know, we're going to keep our fingers crossed and maybe the child will put the oxygen mask on us. That's stretching it. And so recharging our energy from a health perspective, if we are not paying attention to our inside world and are recharging our energy, what happens is, this is a thing I'd like for you to think about. The internal changes are going to go on. You're going to go on empty. We're going to go on empty. And then what happens is the breakdown begins to show on the external world, the external self, through many different ways. And so before that happens, the preventative thing that we can do is to take a mindful moment and think of ways to recharge our internal energy so that we can give and share in a positive way.
Okay, my friends, so this might be the challenging part. I invite you to take a breath and let yourself melt. And now, let's take the first step in coming up with a mindfulness action plan to recharge our energy. As you pay attention to your breath, open the channels of your mind. Don't allow negativity to be a blocker. And when I say don't allow negativity to be a blocker, the thoughts that pop into your mind that starts with, I've tried that, I can't do that, I don't have time for that, this is silly, I'm too old, I'm too young, anything, any thought, any talk that prevents you from making the first step forward is a blocker. And so the action step right now is to ignore the blockers. Bring your mind open to the point where you're thinking this next second, even while Eartha is talking, I'm going to take the first step forward. That is a big step. It's a commitment step. And making a commitment is difficult. I'm asking you to be brave and brainstorm some ways that you can recharge your energy. And maybe I'll think of a few too.
Think of ways that you can recharge your energy. One suggestion, is top on the list, is make sure that we are getting enough rest. And I think, although that might seem, like simple, in this world of multimedia and with the events going on in the world, we're glued so much to our devices, so much to the media. I recommend give it a break. Get some rest. Look at something different, something not associated with anything that's going on in the media for 5 minutes. Even better, do something without the social media for 5 minutes. That's just one suggestion. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this was helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye.
Be sure and pick up a copy of Eartha's new book, Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy. Unlock new creative paths. Transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. Tab Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.